Sometimes in competitive focused games, and especially in periods like right now, with lots of high-level tournaments and meta results to dive into, it becomes very easy to forget the real reason that we're all here, which is to have a good time with our buddies, maybe share a drink or two, or three, or six. Sometimes taking a step away from the competitive and instead having a low-key, casual-focused event with our local community can help to not only refocus us, but also to build valuable relationships. Tonight, I'm joined by Joey Sonart from Decks Draughts, who's running an awesome community-focused event in Colorado, USA. And yes, there's beer. In this video, we're going to discuss not only his event, but also the purpose and value of community events, how to get them started and off the ground. Do they all have to be at breweries? Of course not, but it doesn't hurt. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hello everyone, welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. On tonight's video, I am joined by Joey from Decks Draughts. How's it going, man?
Doing great. How are you, man?
Good. So before we get into the intros, I need to know, what are you drinking tonight?
You know me well. Know how I like to do things. Everything has a beer attached to it. So it's only fitting. It's only fitting that we're talking about an event at Left Hand that I'm drinking from our friends at Left Hand out in Longmont, Colorado, just north of Denver. For most of you who know how Colorado works. This is their peanut butter milk stout. You guys probably know them for their just normal milk stout on nitro. They do tons of things with their milk stout. For fun, though, I also show off the glass, which is from our friends at Our Mutual Friend. They're a brewery down in downtown Denver. They're Charles Dickens themed, which is very cool.
Our Mutual Friend is the name of the brewery?
Our Mutual Friend is the name of the brewery.
Gotcha. I was trying to figure out who Our Mutual Friend was, and I was like, well, I've been to Denver Brewing, and they have a graham cracker stout, but...
They do have a graham cracker stout, but Our Mutual Friend, I think, is just the brewery. Gotcha. Any brewery is great. Gotcha. Anyway, that's me. How about you? What are you drinking?
I'm currently on Pelican. Pelican's off of the coast of Oregon, USA, and I'm drinking their Beaker Breaker. It's their double IPA. It's like my jam. It's good.
After my own heart, I love double IPAs.
Yep, it's good. They used to have another one which they don't make anymore, and this is the double version of the one they don't make anymore. So, anyway.
Anyway,
as much as this would be fun to be a beer cast, but
yeah, we can go we can go to town. But
I will.
Cheers, plink.
So, the reason I reached out to you to come on tonight was you're hosting something akin to my own heart, which is a community event involving playing cards and drinking beer. So, tell us about this.
Yeah. So this is an event that I came up with. I love going to breweries and just playing cards, just trying to bring people out. Turns out one of their beer tenders at Left Hand was also a card gaming person, and they said, we're kind of tired of the same band and doing trivia. What are your thoughts on running an event? So we had him and apparently some other beer tenders behind the bar. Some of the brewers were card gamers. None of them ever heard of Flesh and Blood. But I said, hey, let's try it. Let's go. My background is in marketing and project management, so I have the odd capacity to make something simple just go off the rails. Thus, coaxing a commotion, a kind of multi-tiered event starting around a massive armory to begin with. Just anybody who can make that. And then throughout the day, we're kind of doing fill-in pods of PvE, Ultimate Pit Fight, Classic Constructed, Blitz, whatever people want to play. As long as I get enough to kind of put you in a pod, off you go. A lot of it's going to be raffle-based as far as prize support. I got tons of prize support from local game stores around the area. Mm-hmm. Left Hand is throwing in a bunch in. Everybody got really excited about just the idea of this and bringing the community together. So it just kind of turned into madness. And as I always do, I also add Learn to Play. So with it being in a brewery, plenty of spectators, actually, it's not even what is that? It's that even better 3-word question. Is that magic? Every time I got a quarter jar I'm like, no, it's Flesh and Blood. And you go, I've got an elevator pitch. So it's just going to be a celebration of both the game and bringing people together, especially given how much our community has grown in the last couple of months.
Well, it's awesome. It's ambitious, but it's not just ambitious. You were telling me the numbers of pre-reg already, and it's already a success. Well, I mean, obviously, you know,
yeah, it's
if there's a blizzard or something, which does happen in Denver randomly.
Yes,
but you know, but yeah. So how many? You said like 30 something already registered.
You know, there was a point where it was 30, and now I think I'm capping 50. Actually, on this thing. Because friends are bringing friends. The thing that I really like about this, and it's one of the topics I'm sure we'll get to, is kind of what this does that a normal event can't do, which I think one of the big draws was this takes away the intimidation factor for new players. And we've had a lot of new players. So the only thing you can really do is either you do a learn to play event, which a new player is like, I've already done this, or you end up doing, armories, blitz, draft, sealed, and the new player, newer players are like, I'm not ready for that. I want to get better. I want to practice more. So there's just a lot of intimidation, and something like this that literally throws all of it away. Come out, meet the community. It's drawn everybody in. So yeah, as far as the numbers, that's half the reason. Where we're just bringing in new people, and they're bringing in friends. And I've got somebody from Wyoming in Cheyenne, which is not that far from me, saying, I got somebody flying in and he wants to come down. Something that also is really cool, extra fun note is that I had a store owner just give me 4 passes. He said, I'm going to buy 4 passes to this thing and just do with them what you will. So I decided to do a drawing for any new players, tag yourself or tag somebody who's new. And I'll do a drawing and I'll let 4 people in courtesy of that store owner. And I do that. And the day before I'm going to do the drawing, another store says, we want in, and they bought 4. And another store said, we bought 4. And next thing you knew, I had donated passes for every new player that was tagged. So I was like, well, come on in. You're good. It's just been infectious how much people want to see something like this just succeed. And it's been so fulfilling.
So this sounds, I mean, it's not just a tournament, right? I mean, you mentioned but it sounds like it's a full day celebration of Flesh and Blood in various aspects. So what's the entry to something like that, like 10, and then there's add-ons with a 2-drink minimum, or like how's that work?
So the way that it worked, so a couple things. Right out of the gate, I have just the armory, and then if you want to kind of do the whole day, I actually made it 25 a person. I have so much prize support, you're making money back. The other part of it was that as a part of this, just to make it fun, Coax a Commotion is required in everybody's deck. Oh. But to make sure that they got it, I bought a ton of them. So that way it's part of registration. So I figured that part of that cost could go for buying these. At the time, I was buying them at $2 to $4 a pop. Everybody thought I was specking on Coax a Commotion when I was in Vegas. They were like, are you specking on this? And I told them what the event was and why I was doing this. And they're like, oh, that's actually a much cooler thing. And then Louis Kitchen Table comes out and does the PvE thing and says, I'm specking on Coax a Commotion. So they became a $10, $13 card. I'm like, I was not actually specking on this, guys.
Well, I mean, you're still giving them away. So it's, I mean.
Yeah. So
worst speculation in history.
It really is. So yeah, I felt I could get away with 25. Everybody's going to make their money back easily when it comes to the amount of prize support we have. I've got a ton of playmat. Again, so much donated stuff that kind of came in. I had some of my own collection, and I've got some like old posters. It's going to be a lot of fun. Left Hand threw in free beer. Cool. I've got 25 of them to give away. So the idea out of the gate, I will have other things, is if you win with Coax a Commotion, you get a free beer.
Oh, like if you put somebody 2-0 with that card?
Put somebody 2-0 with this card, you get free beer out of it. So I also wanted to try make sure that... Huh? Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Oh man, I'm worried I'm going to run out like instantly because everyone's going to try it. But the first event is Armory, so like how much do you really want to sacrifice the win to try to get that to happen? But that's what all the little sides are for. Ultimate Pit Fight, a lot of people are really talking about that. I really want to encourage people to try it, so I'm actually doing double prize support for it. So everything that I'm planning, double it up. On top of it, it's very raffle focused. And that's kind of another reason for the cost and the format. Again, I want to kill the intimidation factor. So if you show up and play and try a bunch of different things, you're going to have a much better shot than somebody who just wins everything, honestly. Does the same thing over and over. Again, that's for new players that come in. Great opportunity for them. They don't have to feel like, oh, I don't have the best deck. I'm not ready for this. I'm not going to win anything. You absolutely are. I really wanted this to be inviting. This is a community event. And the community events don't work if you know that 4 people can just dominate the community.
Mm-hmm. And you're giving away free decks to newbies too, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Anybody who wants to show up, learn. I've got this. I've created the Learn to Play kits. That's what many of you probably know Decks and Drafts for. I've got a Learn to Play kit with bulk decks, bulk deck lists in there, little half-page guides, things like that. So I'm ready. I am ready.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great time. So, I mean, I know you watched the channel, you've watched gameplay especially, and you know that a couple weeks ago we ran a new player, me and myself and Travis from Fab Foundry. We hosted an event at a local brewery, which was, the first 2 hours was like a learn to play thing. So we were coaching people through stuff, and then we had it was on demand in that case, but we did an on demand Blitz tournament, and it was a great time, right? And
I love those. I love to learn to play.
Yours is times 10. Yours is times 10, but same stuff. I love it.
Again, this was a pregame is where this thing started. We were getting ready for a classic constructed, getting ready for Road to Nationals. I was like, hey, I'm going to be down the street at Left Hands like an hour early, and then off we went.
Well, I mean, I think that's why I'm attracted to stuff like this so much. We can go into our, purpose of community events discussion, right? It's as I spoke about in the intro, I think it's very easy to forget, especially, we're looking at nationals results and, all this stuff. And it becomes easy to forget that, sometimes just playing at a bar. I mean, we use the term kitchen table, right? But that doesn't always have to mean kitchen table, right? And,
right.
Sometimes playing at a bar and doing stupid stuff and playing your Azalea deck, right? I know you're a fellow Ranger player, right?
That would be all right. So the silly would be my data doll. I in fact have a data doll deck, and that's the janky silliness that would bring to a bar.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but either way,
that's
right?
That's half true. I would try to make the Azalea work too. I'm really proud of the Azalea. I think she's gotten really good all of a sudden.
So I feel that you're a good person to ask kind of the fundamental question. I mean, I think we all inherently, everyone watching this, like if you're watching this channel, you're, of a certain mindset, right? So I think a lot of us understand the value of community events and not necessarily playing to win and growing community.
Yeah.
But how do you make that succeed in a game like Flesh and Blood that has basically come out from the get-go and said that they're a competitive focused game, right? How do you shoot that balance?
Oh, that's such a good question, to be perfectly honest.
Because I haven't figured it out. That's why I'm asking. So
yeah, if I were to guess, you kind of got to leverage on the stuff that's designed for fun. That's the nice part about Flesh and Blood is that there's really only one format that is so competitive that it tries to be mind melding, and that's really classic constructed. But leveraging things like the drafts, the seals, Ultimate Pit Fight is such kind of a goofy format. That one's a little bit hard. But doing Blitz and kind of showing off the game in its silliest form, I want to say, is a good way to kind of get around that. Sorry, I'm fidgeting with my hair. I like to scratch my head for some random reason. I apologize. But so slight confession. I actually feel so. I've been working really hard to build up the Colorado community, and I actually feel we screwed up in August and September, where we were so focused on that competitive aspect that we kind of shunned the new players. Every event was classic constructed. Every event was getting training and getting for that. And I think our community actually figured out a really good solution to that problem, which was to go testing on neutral ground. And it's something I want to try out next year once we get into that competitive season, is instead of making proper events be so focused on whatever the hotness is, pull that away and make the events kind of a plethora of different styles of the game, keep it inviting. And then for those who do want to do that testing, go to a brewery, go to a game store, go to a bar, go on your own terms. I I really liked how we've done that in the last month, getting ready for nationals. I think that's part of the balance. I think that's some of the balance. The needle swings really far in the wrong direction if you make every event about the competitive thing and getting people ready for it. You got to swing it back and be okay with that.
Interesting. That's and yeah. So yeah, because is it just because by being at the or by not being at the LGS, you're not in the I have to win the tournament mindset and less likely. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know, right?
I think it's actually the reverse of that. It's not by not being at the LGS. It's by letting the LGS stay open to anything. You create that message for anybody who's new, for anybody who's concerned that this is not just an opportunity for them to get raffle stomped by, the people who are actually testing. By staying on neutral ground provides a lot of great options. One, you can download and talk about, gameplay, and you can tweak on the fly and all of that stuff. You can actually work with people. Like, we sent a lot of people to nationals, and we weren't testing to see which of them was going to beat the crap out of each other if all 8 of them got to top 8. We want to make a really good showing. But you don't have the timer of the next round. You don't have that concern to the people who weren't there to, win nationals. They're just learning the game. You don't have that pressure.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So yeah, it's you take the schedule away, you take all of that pressure away. Yeah, you kind of miss the prize support, but when you are kind of going up for that competitive side, the rainbow foil extended arts don't mean crap to you compared to a gold foil legendary. Just they're okay passing it off.
I see. Okay, I gotcha. So, yeah, that's it.
It is something I wish LSS would do. So, Legend Story, if you guys
which is what?
If Legend Story is watching, I would love to see a little bit of extra focus on the casual. I know it was a big marketing push. I know they needed to market that as Magic was kind of, pulling away from the Pro Tours and stuff. It was a really good thing to do. But right now, as far as getting new people and inviting new people into it, the only thing they have are kind of hard to get welcome decks that are fun, but don't invite as well as they can, because you're really stuck in kind of one archetype. And then all that you really have are events that are kind of catered to the competition, and everything you see on the site is let's talk about the competition aspect. I would like to see a little bit more celebration of the game and the thing that they created, and maybe a little bit more in the realm of resources for that. Not that it sends a bad message. It's not sending the wrong message. It's just making those of us that are really focused on the community building kind of have to do a little extra work.
So what would your proposal, Alan Hale, right? He's the director of OP over there, right? He's sitting down, and I know the guy likes beer as well. So, right, you guys are sitting down.
Oh, yeah.
He bought you a pint, and he's like, all right, what's your elevator pitch for how I should approach that problem?
First things first.
Because he's like, I'm all about it. Let's embrace casual. How do we do it?
Yeah. I think you need to make some element of it dedicated towards casual play. And I think part of that is going to be by creating, I hate to say add more promos to it or saturate the promo a little bit. So that way you're not doing like cold foils like crazy, but give people reasons to try something, to jump into something where the stakes aren't so high. I think would be one thing. The second thing, and actually, this is in no particular order. You have everyone in Gem. You've got them. You've got them in Gem. Use that. Do some sort of campaign. I have a decade of marketing, by the way. So I've got your email address. I have access to you. Do a new player thing. Do a new player campaign. Give me a multi-touch email campaign that is sending things out. Or I'm not going to say ship things. I don't want LSS spending all the money on shipping new product to things, but send more to local game stores to invite the learn to plays, to invite new people. Give me a tracker on Gem so I can see this is your X number of events. This is your first event since joining Gem. We have something for you for that. Be that a specific promo. I've been doing rare packs, honestly, just like bulk packs of like 5 or 10.
I see.
Give people a reason to come in the second time. It's one of the biggest pieces and best pieces of feedback I got from George over at Compete Sport when it came to the number of events. The first event doesn't mean anything. It's all about the second. You show up to the Learn to Play, that's great. If I never see you at an armory, I don't know how successful I was. Give me a reason to come back, and LSS can do that. Leverage the LGSs, leverage Gem and what you know about those individuals. You can see what they've done, what they've participated in. Leverage that. Use it. Use that data.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I wonder if there's some sort of end user agreement on the registration or whatever. But yeah, okay. I mean, that's fair feedback. I mean, I guess my question or my thought is, does the future of casual Flesh and Blood, for whatever that means, which for everybody is its own thing, right? To be fair, but does the future of casual lie mostly in the alternative formats, like a Pauper or a Pauper plus Rare, or whatever it may be? Does it have to be your Ultimate Pit Fights, or is the competitive focus of Flesh and Blood too pervasive in its, it gets into everything, right? Is that because that's how I kind of feel. So I kind of wonder if it doesn't have to be completely something different.
I don't think so, but the problem is if I'm a player and if I'm kind of playing the marketing game on this, the first thing I would want to do to bring in CC into kind of that casual feel is you need to not name it Classic Constructed. You got to name it something different. Two things happen with Classic Constructed. One, you're shoving Constructed down everyone's throats, which in every game instantly means competition and competitive and,
that's an interesting observation. That's actually a fair one.
Two, classic. I don't quite understand why the word classic is in there, other than maybe it was the first. But again, if I'm a gamer who's looking at other games, the word classic in Magic means modern.
Right.
It means commander.
That's
it means
fair. Also, it should just be standard constructed, right?
Yeah, standard constructed. Standard. Find some.
I never
other
really
word.
Considered that. That's pretty fair.
Yeah, you've got to think of the message that you're sent, because 9 times out of 10, you're bringing somebody new from another card game. So you're sending a message when you say the words Classic Constructed versus Blitz. Blitz is chef's kiss as far as the name of something casual. It's designed to be fast and go, go, go. Classic Constructed sounds like your dad's mad at you. It's serious. It's, I would rename it. The first thing I would do is I would rename it. And then you can maybe start looking at the casual idea of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry. You caught me off guard on that one, but that's a really. No, it's a really good one. Actually, I hadn't really. I mean, CC is just the way it's just what it's been called. I never really gave it much more thought.
I mean, even if you leverage like the young and old, or young and adult, you have them. You have them on the cards.
So it's Blitz. So it's Blitz constructed, and it's slow as balls constructed. No, no.
25 minutes.
No, but I mean, that's a good It's
a messaging thing, right? That's the whole thing that I the best advice I can give for Flesh and Blood regarding growing the community is you gotta get the messaging right. Right now, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's very, very focused. It's very tunnel focused on something that's really attractive, but not to where you can expand to. Especially given that you have this, we want to get people in the Flesh and Blood. I want to get people in the Flesh and Blood having fun. I don't want to get people in the Flesh and Blood feeling that it's a competition every single time. The mantra of Flesh and Blood is come, enjoy, not come, be serious, and get your ass kicked.
Okay, so let's take it to the next step then. So because there's if people are still watching at this point, then they're interested in the
Sorry.
community building aspect of it, right?
You gave me on marketing and I just go. I apologize.
No, I mean, to be clear, I think you had some really good ideas there. Actually, I mean, I don't know if it's a function. I don't know if renaming Classic Construct at this point is a functional idea, but I think it's a really good point.
I mean, you can spin messaging around it.
Mm-hmm.
You can build tournaments and you can build events and you can build articles that take the, I'm just going to use the word stigma, the stigma that comes with the word constructed and the concept of classic. Give me developers that are building silly classic constructed decks. Give me something wonky with the format. Let me do Data Doll Mark III adult, and let's let Legend Story Studios start a silly conversation of how would you build Shiana adult? How would you build Data Doll? Just take away the message that Classic Constructed is only for the heads down, sunglasses on inside players.
Yeah, I mean, I call Blitz constructed when I make videos and stuff. So I don't know that you're going to be able to drop the constructed thing.
Probably not.
But the classic thing is a fair point because, I mean, in this game, you're likely going to have like once somebody hits legendary status, living legend status, it's likely going to be like legendary constructed or something like that will be their quote unquote vintage format or whatever.
Yeah, constructed's more of a directive anyway, so I mean it's fine. I'm not mad at the word constructed, but I am absolutely saying you have to know what comes with it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Anyway, we've been on that for a while.
Sorry,
no. It's good. It's good conversation. But as someone who's watching this who wants to know, how do I go about? I want to create a casual environment. Do I just need to grab, my 3 buddies after, or maybe soon to be buddies, whatever it may be, right? Grab 3 dudes who I appreciate playing against and say, hey, let's go grab a beer after the Armory tournament, and it goes from there. Because if somebody goes out and they try to go to a brewery and have a 50-man tournament, they may not succeed to the same level that you have, right? So
yeah,
what are the top 3 or it doesn't have to be top 3, but what are the key pieces of advice you'd give someone towards that, or what would be your approach?
So first thing, I'll share how I build a community, the steps that I take. Because the first thing first is when we say we're trying to build a casual community, I don't want that to be like a set in stone thing. It's not I want the community to be casual more than I want casual players to have a place to go and to feel confident going to anything. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So the way that starts for me when I'm working with a store, when I'm trying to build a store up, I start out with the learn to plays. Usually I do like a week or 2 of those, get lead time, make sure the store is interested in promoting that. I can't kind of go to my own social media channels and say, there's a learn to play here. I'm preaching to the choir. I leverage that local community. I also don't want to thin the herd, right? If I'm trying to get a bunch of new people into a learn to play at a place that's 30 minutes away from them, I'm thinning them. I'm sending them off into many different directions as opposed to building the one store that was successful. I want the store to find their community. Get me some lead time. Let's do a learn to play. Usually I do like 2 or 3, give people an opportunity to schedule, to plan, to try it out. And then I start with Blitz. I strongly advise stores that are brand new with Flesh and Blood to ignore Classic Constructed for 2 months. Give new players an opportunity to kind of explore the game without, again, that very competitive side. You throw in prize support that's worth $100. You're going to get the ones with the Classic Constructed deck that's worth $1,000. Not to say that they're not invited. Not to say that you should do one of those new players only things. Don't do that. Again, if we can look up number of events in Gem, you can do that kind of stuff. But you can't. So stay in Blitz. Stay in something that is designed to be casual. Get people comfortable with the game. And then from there, let them decide, honestly. Hey, half the time I can go into a Blitz that has 8 or 10. What do you guys want to do next week? You want to try Classic Constructed? You want to do Blitz? Maybe you split it up. If you're lucky enough to have multiple stores, one will probably be more competitive and the other will be casual. If they're friendly, you can get them to switch. That's a long shot. But let your community decide, but start them casual. And then even if you go into, we want to do classic constructed, the casual players will be so comfortable and confident, they've gotten enough reps in that new format isn't going to scare them right out of the gate. And the great thing about this game is that it's not just something that you want to just be good at. You try this out for the first time and then you see what's possible. And that just like inspires you and scares you. So by month 1, by month 2, new players are looking at the deck that is like $1,000. They're saying, that's a thing? You know, Bloodsheath, Skeleton into Sonata and Ninth Blade is a possibility? I don't know what those cards are, but that's insane. And they get really excited about it. And then suddenly they're talking about the tech. Then they're talking about the strategy. Now you're getting them engaged, not just in understanding the rules, but how to make something spectacular. And then you let them go. Mm-hmm. You let them decide. That's how I do it. It's been really successful. Start casual and slow. Let them decide. Let them go from there.
So then if they say that group grows together, right? They all start off, they grow together, and they decide to move into CC, then haven't you actually hit yourself with the knees for your new player pipeline?
You always have to open the door to that. But the other thing, though, is if you have a new player pipeline, you do another Learn to Play, and you start it all over. Hey, we're going to do more Learn to Play events. Hey, community who's been following us for so long, we've got a lot of new players. We want to invite them. We're going to do Blitz this week. They show up, cool. If not, that's fine. Maybe you get into a rotation, you stagger, you do 2 and 2, 2 Blitz, 2 Classic Constructed, a Blitz, a CC, a Sealed, a Draft, you rotate. Nothing says that a store that's been playing Flesh and Blood for 6-7 months can't do Learn to Plays again. Go for it. We've got tons that do that. Bring in new people, leverage that community that you've built and say, would anybody like to help out with this? Get some faces, get some butts and seats, take pictures of it. So those who are not sure whether or not people play the game, because that's still a thing, get it posted that, yes, there are people here who play the thing. You missed this one. We're going to do another Learn to Play event. Please come back. Please come that time. And let the community build itself. And if you keep constantly having just Classic Constructed, community's Classic Constructed. We'll see you for the next Learn to Play.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, great. So I do, we've like we try to do community stuff as well. And one of the things that I've had in Flesh and Blood, the players that I would like to convert, I'm not doing a very good job here, but we have certain players that they'll win the armory, and then you turn around to like say hey, and they're gone. Like they've already packed up and they're out of the store, right? So is it even possible in this game to make those players? How do you turn them into a stakeholder in the community instead of a stakeholder in their shiny cardboard?
Oh man, that one's so tough. I don't know if there's a direct answer to that. And honestly, I don't think that there should be, because everyone's going to be different. We have a few people like that. I don't have like the best answer.
Yeah, I think I'm at a loss. I don't know, right? A lot of times we'll go get beers after a tournament, just casually, and like a lot of times we'll even have the don't talk about Fab rule. We'll just hang out and be buddies, right? And I'd love to invite some of these people to go have a beer, and they're gone.
We did a road to nationals in Estes Park, and a couple of us went on a hike the next day. Like, we were there. Let's go. I love the don't talk about Fab stuff. Granted, all we did was talk about Flesh and Blood. So we went for a hike, and it was just fun. Like we did talk about Flesh and Blood constantly, but I do like the go out and do things that are not Flesh and Blood. And honestly, when it comes to the you're just a card gamer and that's all you do, sometimes there's no saving that. And maybe there's no reason to save that, as long as you prevent it from becoming a toxic thing. As long as you don't have individuals who don't talk to me between rounds, I'm going to be aggressive, I'm going to be mean, I'm going to be angry if I don't win. As long as you're avoiding that, let them be. as far as trying to get them to turn and get them to embrace, I've gotten really lucky that our community has just been infectious. And we're all excited about new players. We're all excited about seeing new people come in. Yeah, we have some that kind of show up and then immediately go, but our community is only 10 months old. I was about to say it's only 7 months old. It's only 10 months old. No, that's not true. We started in April. I started the game in January. I'm 10 months old. Our community started in April. So this is still a new toy for a lot of us.
Well, I was going to say, my sister lives in Denver, and I'm pretty sure you guys didn't get out of social distancing restrictions until early spring. So
yeah. No, our first event was April 1st. That was like an official Learn to Play event. Before that, it was only one store in Colorado Springs, maybe 2. But now we're over 25 stores 7 months later. But anyway, as long as those individuals just don't create something toxic, just try to get lucky and do something infectious. Especially if, and maybe there's a sneaky way to do it. Hey,
well, I mean, we don't need to trick anybody, right? I mean, you don't have to be a part of the Let's Go Get Beers crowd to be a part of the community. I want to be very clear for the viewers. That's not what anybody's saying here, right?
That's true. No, that's very fair. That's very, very fair. But it is hey, we want to go to neutral ground and test for a big event. Now that's going to draw out the card gamer. That's where I was going with that. Sorry, not to be deceptive.
No, it's just, we have to be careful how we present things on the internet, because if it can be taken the wrong way, that one person on the internet will do it, and now you lost your job because they hate you or something. I don't know, whatever.
That is very true. No, Flesh and Blood community, I'm not suggesting lie to anybody, but I am saying that you can get clever. Which is, hey, we have a big tournament coming up, but we want to practice. We're gonna get some beers. We're gonna go to this neutral spot an hour ahead of time if anybody wants to show up. If you have a card gamer guy who just wants to try to win, maybe he'll be there. If he keeps getting his butt kicked, or if they keep getting their butt kicked, maybe they need the practice. We'll see you at a neutral spot. The more we keep talking about it, the more I'm really starting to appreciate neutral spots. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of going to a non-LGS location. And granted, we're adults. I'd prefer it include a beer, but it doesn't have to. But I'm a huge fan of going to a non-LGS location and playing games against each other. And at whatever level, as long as you agree it with your...
Yeah, opponent. You'll have that community that, you have those individuals who really want to get good, and they will take advantage of the study session. Mm-hmm. You have those that... it doesn't always mean that somebody who's not engaged with the community doesn't mean that they just don't like the community. Elephant in the room sometimes is that there is just a little bit of, they're not that social of a person. That's kind of...
You mean that's why they play card games? No. No, it's true though, right? I mean, it's a social activity that a lot of people who are antisocial gravitate to. I mean, that's a very fair statement.
You get to operate in the safe space that is the game, and you can feel very confident when you're talking about the game, because you don't have to get into this. You don't have to get into nervous things. You don't have to get into the how am I going to start a conversation. You already have that. You have that in spades. If that's you, that's great. We'll see you. Don't be toxic. But I'm glad you showed up. And if not, hey, let's get some rounds in. Let's go. Let's practice.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, if you get lucky, then you start tapping into, can people help me out in events? I'm with Coaxing a Commotion. I actually have a Learn to Play table, as I mentioned, and anybody who helps out at the Learn to Play event, anybody who takes some time off of being able to go win things and go just play their normal game and help and show somebody the game, I'm giving them something for it. Thank you for contributing to the community. And helping build it. And, that's a draw for people. And I try to make a good enough draw. Like I said, I've got so much support from people. I've got so much support from stores. Our stores are smart enough to know that this is a long game. Mm-hmm. You invest now, and they're going to keep coming back and buying packs and packs and packs and boxes. My mantra with building a community, which, by the way, anyone who is trying to build a community, get them started for free. Bring Learn to Play decks, bring bulk, leverage it. Don't get a store to try to commit products or get in the middle of that. I always find that you're going to have a better customer when they buy off of impulse instead of necessity. So don't say your first event is going to be a draft or a sealed. I get that's an easy point of entry, but it's also an intimidating one. If I don't like this game, I've wasted $30. The store is saying, if I just got this game and I'm about to give a bunch of product and nobody's going to come back, let the ones who are going to come back buy boxes. And let the ones who aren't a big fan of the game walk away with a free deck. And it's just a little bit of bulk. That has worked in every store forever. Put it on a bumper sticker. Get your customers to buy off of impulse, not necessity.
Yeah, give away free stuff to hook them, and have a discount that the store has a 5% or 10% discount or whatever that day, and then they're like, oh, well, if I buy today, it's 10% less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually did it with my bulk rares.
Yep.
So I set up bulk rare packs, and the way that I did it at a Learn to Play is if you buy anything Flesh and Blood related from the store, I will give you a rare pack of 10 cards, so you can bolster whichever deck you chose that you liked.
Oh, so it didn't even cost the store anything.
Didn't cost the store anything. It was a great cross promotion. They made money. I got rid of bulk. That's the draw for me. I got some space in the closet.
Joey's less of a hoarder.
Yes, I'm less of a hoarder. The wife is happier. The other thing that it encourages that is never really respected, and it's the other reason I'm not a big fan of the Ira decks, as fun as they are. Oh my god, it is a fun way to learn the game. They don't encourage deck building. They're 30 cards. You can't do more with it. You can add 10, but you're just stuck playing that. So the Learn to Play, the ones that I have, not to just boast my decks. If you make your own bulk decks, don't make them to win. Make them to teach the game. Like I've got Dash that has like 10 generics in it. I want you to learn Dash and recognize those 10 generics are a problem. I want you to get excited when you see a bunch of Dash things you haven't seen before and say, oh, I'm slotting that. I know exactly where this goes. I'm getting rid of this. Now you've gotten them engaged in the deck building. Now you've gotten them engaged in the actual game, not just learning to play it, but getting better at it. It's a good marketing trick to get people engaged in their own way, get people wrapped up in what can they bring, what can their experience and their ideas bring. It's so great. And then, if you've got bulk rares, Learn to Play. Buy some packs from the store. Tell me what hero you really liked. Get this out of my closet. Here you go.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we're gonna, before we wrap this up, kind of on our way out, why don't you had mentioned already, kind of on the way in, that you were responsible for the Learn to Play kit. You had told me on the intro it was 2,700 downloads so far of that, right? Yeah,
27 at the time of my last check. Now you have me very curious, so I'm gonna just very quickly go look at this because it's good old Bitly.
Yeah, but go ahead and give us the elevator pitch on what this is for those who haven't found it yet, and how they can use that to help their community.
Sure. So I actually made up 2 documents that are designed to really build the community, either by helping players who are trying to build a community get started with an event that will bring in more players, or that will get players introduced to the game. I also created something that will invite players looking to get a new store in the game that kind of lets them kickstart their research. So the first is called the Learn to Play kit. And what it includes is a little bit of an introduction for a store on how to create kind of a welcome event. It's a little bit different than Flesh and Blood's welcome event in that there are actual full decks of every hero. I've also included half-page guides. I could just do it because I have it here comfortably printed, and I just made the Tales of Aria decks. So I have little half-page guides. Boom. Of each hero. This will naturally be a cut screen. But you can print them out or laminate them, and any new player can be like, I'm really interested in Lexi. Cool. Here's a little blurb on how to play Lexi, what to look for in the deck. I also have, what's the complexity of this hero? If you are aggressive, what is this hero for you? If you like to be defensive, is this hero for you? So it really is kind of your one-stop shop of a Learn to Play event. Bring in new people, build bulk decks, get rid of that bulk, and use it for good. Second event is second kit is the retailer introduction kit, which literally is just to kickstart research. If you have a store that you really want to get into the game, one of the most common things I hear new people or people tell a store is if you get the game, I will buy it. And that's terrible. I'm sorry. It only works for the first purchase. Because after that, you're on the hook for every case that store buys. And if you're not able to build the community, that poor store is now stuck with product that isn't going to move, and they're just going to be mad at it. So the retailer intro kit is really just a couple of pages that share, here are the formats of this game. Here's a little bit of marketing, as far as where is the game gone? How has it grown? Who's backing this and supporting this? There's testimonials. There are sections on, if you are interested, here's the link to the B2B website. Here's how to get onto the Facebook store owner page. Here are the distributors who have this. It is really just to say, here's how to get started, and it talks their language. We get into margins, we get into a whole bunch of things that maybe somebody who is just a card gamer might not necessarily know. So big thank you to Georgia Compete Sports and Don Eichbacher at Critical Games and many of the other store owners out there who talked to me and gave me advice on how to write that kit, and gave me stuff that I don't know because I am just a player, not a store owner. But yeah. They're both there. Wonderful resources. They've been working great. They've gone worldwide, which makes me really proud. That's kind of my claim to fame.
And we will certainly link that right down there in the description of the video. We'll get that in the description. So
for sure.
All right. Well, I think there's a lot of good stuff here tonight. You made me think. That's actually a really interesting point about the classic portion, but. So I'll have to think about that. But yeah, so talking community here with Joey from Decks and Draughts. Do you have any other shout outs or anything you want to do before we get out of here tonight?
Thinking about that. I mean, come say hi to me over at Decks and Draughts. How about that? How about that for a shout out? Have myself for a shout out. One of these days I'll get to what I'm wanting to do, which is actually just to do beers and try to win with Azalea a heck of a lot more. But yeah, come visit me, and I'm going to be doing, I don't know if I'm streaming Coaxing a Commotion, but I'm definitely going to have a highlight reel. And honestly, if you want to reach out to myself and ask any questions on how do you build a community, how do you talk to a store, how do you put on an event like this, please head over, or I'm at decksanddrafts@gmail.com. I am more than happy to guide and kind of help out with what has worked for me and what has worked for this community, and really how to get a brewery excited and how to get local game stores excited and how to partner up. This has been one of the coolest things I have ever done for a card game, and I feel like so much of it has been kind of done for me with the support from the stores and the community, and it's just been infectious. So I would love to bring that to you guys.
Well, that is great news, and it's very exciting. I mean, it's something that we've had minor success with, but you've taken it to the next level. So props.
Hopefully, we'll see. I've got a logistic problem in that I might actually run out of space in the brewery.
Oh well, that's a hard. I mean, that's a Crimea River type of problem, right? So.
That is a Crimea River. Thankfully, it is going to be 66 degrees and partly cloudy. That is outside flesh and blood weather.
To be fair, I've been in Denver, and it was 66 and sunny in the morning, and then it was snowing in the afternoon. So
we do that. We do have all four seasons in one day. That's the thing that happens.
But man, if I didn't have stuff to do next weekend, that's very tempting. But anyway,
so
I do.
Fun secret news. So I might as well end on this note. This is actually also a proof of concept. If this is something that really works out, I do have this kind of secret dream of my own to actually pop around the country and do one of these like once a year. Hey, I'm coming to Seattle. I'm coming to Oregon. I'm coming to Orlando, Ohio. God, I want to go to Rhinegeist in Cincinnati, and I want to take over their football field sized brewery and just make it all flesh and blood. I think it'd be really cool if I can prove that if we can do sponsorships and partnerships and everybody wins in it. I am not just trying to be somebody this is a neat community event. This is a lot of work, but I think that I'd like it to be kind of an opportunity to do just regular around the country. And I'm happy to put my name on that. But in the meantime,
you heard it here first, folks. The Calling Rhinegeist.
I'm trying to call Denver. We already have the Calling Cincinnati. I am trying aggressively for the Calling Denver 2022, but I am happy to go coax a commotion at Rhinegeist Brewery in Cincinnati, or there's so many breweries. it's a big list. So we'll
All
see.
right. Well, we're
Maybe
gonna
I'll
put
see you
this
soon.
one. We're gonna put this one to bed. But
Yes.
thank you very much for popping in. There's a lot of good stuff tonight. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure, like I said, all the links that we've referred to, as well as link to his YouTube channel, will be below. Again, Joey, thank you very much for joining me tonight. And you got to say it with me, man. Go Commando.
Go Commando. Oh, do we have to do it at the same time? We can
Go Commando.
Go Commando.
Nice.